Hi there! Welcome to Creator Toolbox, a show brought to you by the ServiceNow Developer Program, where we demo new ServiceNow features for every developer's toolbox. My name is Travis Tolson, Senior Developer Advocate at ServiceNow. Now, previously, we teased the power of Developer Sandboxes and ServiceNow IDE together, and this time we're bringing it full circle. We have Edwin and Jivan here joining us today to discuss this amazing new combo. Before that, let's start off with some introductions.
Hi everyone, I'm Jivan. I'm product manager on the app lifecycle team. I own the developer sandbox capability, and today I'm excited to show you some of the features of dev collaboration along with some of the pro code tooling that we're offering. So excited to be here.
Hey everyone, my name is Edwin Coronado. I'm a senior manager. I am an engineering manager for the ServiceNow IDE and the ServiceNow SDK project, and super excited to show what we got today.
Awesome. Great to have you both here. I'm so excited for this, so let's go ahead and dive right in.
Awesome. So I'm logged into an instance here, and you'll notice something really cool about this instance right up here that says development activities must be exclusively performed in a sandbox. So what we'll be demoing today is a few things: collaboration between a pro code and a low code user, and most importantly, the isolation that the sandboxes provide so that my changes don't affect my another developer's changes. So in this example, I'm logged into this main instance. From here, I can navigate to my sandbox management. And in the sandbox management application, you can see I have my sandbox here. There's a few other sandboxes provisioned as well. And again, these are created from the main instance, but they're their own completely isolated developer environment. So if I make a change on mine, Jivan doesn't get my changes until she pulls from Git. So we'll be demoing some of that today. I'm going to log into my sandbox. So now that I'm here on my sandbox, as a pro developer, I'll be working in the ServiceNow IDE. So we can launch it right from the command palette here, ServiceNow IDE, and I'm greeted with my application here. So this is an application that I already had on my workspace. I've been working on this application. You can see that we have some ACL, some tables, but in this case, I want to make a change to this business rule here. I want to change a few things, commit those changes. Then we're going to see Jivan making changes to the same business rule in the low code platform. And then we'll be merging these things together here in the IDE. So let's make some changes to something like the name. Let's call it handle task update, new changes. Maybe we want to change this from insert or update. We'll actually do maybe insert, and you actually want to replace the update maybe with query. So I have these changes that I've made. This application, as you can see, the color change here in the file indicates that I've made changes to this because Git is tracking that. So if I navigate to my Git extension on the left hand here, we can see it's tracking my changes. So let's go ahead and change that. We can actually view what we changed. So here's a diff between what I had before and what the new changes that I've made. And you can also see that we are on the main branch. So I'm committing straight locally here in the IDE to main, and let's give it a title. So this is my commit message here, making changes to the BR. Let's go ahead and add my changes. So they have now been staged and I can actually commit them. So I'm going to go ahead and commit this, and I won't push just yet. We're actually going to switch over to Jivan, and she's going to change some things about this exact same business rule, but in the low code world, in her own sandbox, without disturbing my sandbox.
All right, so now I'm a different developer. I am working on the same instance, and I'm working on a different story than Edwin, but I am going to use it's a jest. I'm going to get a new sandbox to work on my story so that I don't clash with whatever Edwin is working on. So here I have already had a sandbox pre-created for me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go and copy this URL and log into my sandbox. Right here, I'm going to use the same credentials that I have. Now I'm logging into my sandbox to start working on my story. And let me also open the IDE. So now I'm in my ID, and as part of my story, I need to create a new business rule. And you must have seen before that Edwin was using code to create all of the work that he wanted to do. But I am a low code user, so I'm not that familiar with writing code. So I'm going to use my traditional ServiceNow skills to create a new business rule. So the same app that Edwin was working on, I'm going to open the metadata explorer here, and I'm going to tell it that I want to create a new business rule in my app. So I'm going to continue. So as part of my story, I'm going to create a new business rule to set a default end date anytime to create a new to-do item. So I'm going to add a name. So anytime I insert updated, I am going to set a default end date to something. And I'm done with this work. So I'm going to hit save on this business rule. Another thing I'm going to do as part of my story is update the business rule that that Edwin was working on. So I'm going to open this business rule. And we saw Edwin working on this business rule in his pro code kind of persona where he was editing it all in code. But here, I am able to see the same business rule as the standard ServiceNow representation. So we can also see that any of the changes that Edwin was making, I don't see them because his changes are isolated in his sandbox and mine are isolated in mine. So we're going to do something intentional to create a conflict to show you how that works. So So let's create some mess here. And I'm also trying to, there we go. We'll try to create a couple of conflicts in there. So I'm going to hit save on there. So now that I'm done with all of the changes that I wanted to do as part of my story, I'm going to come here to this tab and sync my changes so that all of the work that I've been doing as a low code person is now synced and interpreted as like code behind the scenes. And once we switch over, we'll see like, all of this is action, but just something to keep in mind, like once I'm done with my work, I'm going to sync. All right, now that it's done syncing, it's time to push our changes to Git because I am done working on the story. So I'm going to come to the source control menu. I'm going to create a new branch for the story, which was around end dates. I'm going to add all of these changes to my commit. This is all of the new work versus some of the updates that I did. So we add in a nice commit message. Click this checkbox here to commit. All my changes are committed. So I'm going to push the changes in my respective Scratch branch. So this is different from the branch that anybody else in their own sandbox is using. And now I'm going to push these changes back to Git. Perfect. Here we see the change that I just committed is available on Git. So I'm going to create a pull request and merge these changes back to main. Request. All right, no conflicts. Perfect. So I'm going to merge these changes back into my main branch. And that's it. I'm done with my changes. So now we're going to see, go back to Edwin, who's our pro code persona, and he's going to see how it's going to consume the changes that I have committed. He's going to resolve all of the merge conflicts and see how we go from there.
So I'm back in the IDE here after Jivan has made her changes. She's merged them to main. Now let's say I didn't know that she had merged to main, so I'm going to go ahead and try to push my changes up. And now I'm getting a notification, oh, you actually have changes that upstream that you haven't pulled yet. So let's go ahead and pull them. Perfect. So now Git is actually telling me, hey, there's some conflicts that you're going to have to resolve. Let's go ahead and hit that. And here we're launched into this really industry standard diff resolution logic here. And right on the IDE, I can say, hey, I want this one over here, maybe this one. That's fine. We can hit Command Save. And now I have all the changes integrated into my working environment, right? Again, the changes that Jivan is making in her sandbox don't actually affect my sandbox until I pull this code and I build and install the application in the IDE. But for now, I was able to detect that I needed to pull the different code that I didn't have yet, resolve the conflicts, and then address that as I want to locally. So in this case, I'm like, yeah, sure, let's get all these changes in. These look good to me. Merging changes. Let's go ahead and commit it. And something that you can actually see here in the commit tab, if we expand this up, let's pull it up. Perfect. You can see all the commits that we've done. So you can actually see what Jivan did earlier in the form of the commit. With the diffs, you can actually see this is me reintegrating some stuff. So you can see the whole history of the repo right here in your commit tab. So now that we've merged all this code in, let's go ahead and close everything and revisit our file structure over here. If I navigate to source Fluent generated, I can actually see the new business rule in the pro code mode that Jivan added. So she doesn't have to look at the code directly, but me as a pro code user doing everything as code, I actually get her changes right in my project as Fluent code. So now let's say I want to make some changes to this. I actually don't like this long name that we use by default, so I can actually move this around. You'll notice that I have my server development business rule directory that I've created. That's where I like putting my business rule. So let's rename this and let's call it set default end date. And I can actually move this here. And that's totally fine. If I were to build this application, it will still know that this is the business rule that Jivan created. If she were to open this up and make changes again, I won't get a new generated. It'll actually update this exact file wherever I put it. The way it's doing that is just looking at the ID and figuring that out for me. But we're able to, work together well. She's working in the low code world. She doesn't have to worry about any file structure. But I like having my business rules where I want them, so I can actually move them, keep them there, and we can keep working together that way.
Man, this is really exciting. Like, it's so cool seeing the feature branching and a lot of your traditional pro code tools in the ServiceNow environment. But I think what really blows me away is just how well integrated it works between low code and pro code. One question I've got is, you guys mentioned syncing changes. If I'm a low code person, what happens if I forget to sync changes?
That's a great question. Today, you do have to sync those changes into Fluent if you want to maintain the application complete. Nothing stops you from making changes on the instance, but if you never sync it back to the Fluent code, you would never get that in the project, in the Fluent project, actual Fluent project. And if you miss that and don't check it in, then the next time you install from the Fluent project, you'd run the risk of losing some of that data. So we highly encourage to come back and make sure you do a sync often. But yeah, that you do run the risk today of doing that. We're looking at ways. We're always exploring on making this better. We're looking at ways of making that seamless, like even more seamless. But today you do have to make sure you sync back. Someone has to sync back to the Fluent code.
So then what happens if my low-code user is not operating in ServiceNow IDE?
Yeah, that's a great question. They can still do everything they want in the builder, so UI Builder, Flow Designer, and the other, or then traditional UI. It comes back to someone does need to go into the IDE or in the local SDK, which is another pro form of the SDK that you can run locally in your own computer, not in the ServiceNow IDE. But someone does need eventually to sync that code back integrate that back into the Fluent application. So low code users, you could have 6 low code users, never even know that there is a Fluent application in the background, but you do need at least that one person that is constantly fetching those changes and pulling them into the Fluent application as Fluent code.
Gotcha. And I mean, that kind of makes sense because you usually have somebody that's kind of overseeing and administering your Git repository. So that's not entirely unfamiliar.
Correct.
So one last thing that I definitely want to call out is from our previous Dev Sandboxes video. Dev Sandboxes are a little bit different in terms of getting started. So what do we need to do in order to get started with this amazing combination?
So once you have sandboxes, your instance is set up with sandboxes, you can procure like IDE the same way from store and just start using it, I guess. There's nothing stopping you.
And then, so would Sandboxes be something that you install as a plugin, or is there more of a setup to it?
There's a little bit of more setup to it involved. It's once you do go through all the entitlement procurement processes, we'll set up sandboxes on the instance for you guys for the time being.
Perfect. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today. This has been fantastic. I'm so excited for this feature set. This is so cool to see.
Awesome.
Thanks for having us.
For having us.
All right. Well, that's all the time we have for this episode of Creator Toolbox. We have more episodes coming or already out, so be sure to check our channel. Thanks, everybody.